Nathanael Greene was born on July 27, 1742 in Rhode Island. He was named after his father, who was a respected minister of the Society of Friends and a well-known businessman. Because of Quaker beliefs about education, Greene was only taught reading, writing, and business math. Greene used every possible moment to read books and saved his money to buy books, so eventually he acquired a large library. He even made miniature anchors and other toys to sell in Newport, so he could buy his books. Greene had also been taught blacksmithing and milling work. His father purchased a mill in Coventry, which Nathanael was in charge of managing. He took an active part in community affairs. He knew the value of education and helped establish the first public school in Coventry. He also added books on military science to his library, which he studied diligently. When the pacifist Quaker authorities discovered his interest in military affairs, he was called before the main committee for examination. Greene stated firmly that though he was a Quaker, he would not be turned from studies, which interested him, and the case was dropped. Because of difficulties arising between England and the colonies, groups of men were formed, drilled, and armed to meet emergencies. Consequently, Greene became a member of a company known as the Kentish Guards. Then on July 20th, 1774, Greene married Catherine Luther of Block Island. When the news of the battles of Lexington and Concord reached Rhode Island, Greene was one of the 4 men in his community who hurried to Boston to offer his services. Greene was made commander with the rank of Major General. His studies of military science helped to meet many problems. He worked early and late to bring his forces to workable efficiency and good discipline. In June 1775, he had his troops positioned around Boston. When George Washington arrived to command the armies around Boston in July, Greene welcomed Washington. In a little while, the armies were placed on the Continental Organization Plan, which resulted in the reduction of Greene's rank from Major General to Brigadier General, a demotion which he accepted in good grace. He was ready to serve his country under the leadership of Washington. In the earlier days of the war, there were many who did not desire to serve beyond their own immediate area. But Greene pointed out such desires would never bring victory. Later, Greene and his troops ordered to Long Island to drive off the British if they attacked that area. Late in the summer of 1776, the British attacked the Americans around New York, when the Americans were obligated to retreat. During the period, Greene was made a Major General at Christmas time in 1776 and early in the new year at Princeton, under the leadership of Washington. 2 victories were won. Diminishing British strength in New Jersey, American morale was restored. On March 2, 1778, Washington appointed Greene the new Quartermaster General of the Continental Army. Washington still consulted him on matters of strategy and tactics, and participated in all councils of war. The next battle that Greene took an active role in was the Battle of Monmouth on June 28, 1778. On June 7, 1780, he commanded the front line at the engagement of Connecticut farms in New Jersey. 2 weeks later, he led the force that repulsed the British at the Battle of Springfield. That was on June 23, 1780. Greene resigned as Quartermaster General on July 26, 1780, because he did not agree with Congress's new policy of requisitioning supplies from the individual states. In late September of 1780, he presided over the military court that convicted Major John Andre, the British officer who was involved in Benedict Arnold's treason, of spying. A month later, Washington gave Greene command of West Point, after Major General Horatio Gates was defeated by the British Army at the Battle of Camden. That was August 16, 1780. Washington appointed Greene the new Southern commander. After Greene defeated the British and Cornwallis, George Washington sent him the following letter. On September 8, 1781, Greene prepared his army to battle the British at Eutaw Springs. Even though Greene had prepared a private attack, some of the men that had quit his troop had tipped off the British in Greene's planned attack. Despite the British being informed of the attack, Greene and his troops were able to force the British to retreat. This battle seemed to have pushed the British over the edge and caused most of the power of South Carolina to diminish. After Greene's astonishing victory, Governor Rutledge then congratulated Greene with the following letter. Next, Greene prepared his men to attack the British in Charleston. Yet because Cornwallis had retreated in Yorktown, Virginia, caused the British to have to retreat from Charleston on December 14, 1782. Because of his retreat and Greene's men's historic efforts, South and North Carolina were now free of the enemy. In August of 1783, Greene was finally relieved of his southern duties because peace had finally come in the southern states. At this time, Congress was in session at Princeton, which is where Greene surrendered his final commission. When Greene arrived back to Rhode Island, he was welcomed to great appreciation by his surrounding people, and especially George Washington. But he was eager to move back down south onto his 24-acre estate on the Savannah River. Finally, in late 1785, he finally settled down at his estate with his wife and 6 children. He was extremely interested in making his dream plantation come true. In April of 1786, he wrote the following letter to his friend. On June 12, 1786, Greene went on a business trip and on his way home stopped by one of his closest friends' plantations. Yet when he finally reached home, he became extremely ill and passed away on June 19, 1786. He went out extremely well respected, and many people mourned his death. One of the largest attributes was that he was one of the men that Washington always trusted.